Alright, I've had requests for things to do at home with more sword practice. Those of you who want to get your sword out, your iaito or your boken, if it has a scabbard, it's even better. If you just have a wooden sword, you can use one of those as well and just use your obi belt as a pretend saya. Today we're working on Chiburi. Chiburi is the idea of removing, it's a little bit gross, I understand, and morbid, removing the blood and the gore from the blade after it's done its job. My opinion of Chiburi is it's overemphasized in many styles. If the guy is dead on the ground, it makes no sense and no one cares how you put your sword back or how you clean your blade. I think that it's probably added in the Edo period with a lot of these samurai who were out of work, open sword schools, kenjutsu, martial arts schools, hundreds of them, had a lot of time on their hands. Therefore, they developed different styles depending on the ryuha, different styles of removing the blood from the blade. And my opinion is, again, use a rag. The best thing you can do is pull the rag out of your kimono, wipe the blade a few times before you return it to your scabbard. Blood is, it has high levels of iron in it, and I have used it on blades. About 22 years ago, we actually knew someone who was a butcher and had pig's blood available. We took the time, about 6 of us, and put blood on the blade to represent it. It coagulated very quickly. We didn't think it would. And we did different forms of Chiburi to see how the blood would flick. Remember, chi is blood. The kanji for chi is blood. And then furi or buri means to shake or to flick. So chi furi, chi buri is to flick the blood from the blade. It's a little bit gross. Again, my opinion is just use a rag. It's much easier. Having said that, a couple that you can practice. These are not foolproof. If the person is still perhaps alive or they have other people around, you have to make sure your guard stays up when you do these. I don't want to do something fancy and leave myself wide open for attack. Unless you're filming a movie, it looks cool. But the idea is when you do Chiburi, you keep the tip. If possible, keep your guard here, just in case. You want that zanshin, that lingering intention, to still be there. The guy's dead. Who cares what you do? No one cares. Kind of an o-chiburi. O-chiburi, o means big or large, great. So perhaps you've done your job. Sword can be here. Relax your right hand. Bring it here, almost like the visor of a baseball cap, keeping the sun out of your eyes. This is like Kasumi no Kamae. Blood goes over there. You flick the blade down to the right. O Chiburi. O Chiburi here. Again, don't overdo it. It's here. Blade is still toward the opponent before you do noto, whatever school style you do. So O Chiburi, I've seen it done this way. I've seen it done at a 45-degree angle. The idea is when you flick the blood, you don't want to get all over your clothes or all over your comrades. It goes around here. Relax your body. Relax your body. If you do this enough, you're going to be really numb and in pain because these swords are heavy. So ichi. So you've done your kamae, you've cut root here, yo, there, back into noto. Another one you can do is yoko chiburi or ko, small chiburi. Seigan no kamae here, you're done. Taking your left pinky finger and holding the handle of the sword this way. And then you're going to pull the sword to your right. Pull the sword to your right. That flicking of the left finger here gives enough of a snap so that the blood flies to your right. It's not just this, because nothing's going to move off the blade. The idea is to flick it, and that flies the blood here back to noto. Okay? That's another one. There's several of these. Another version is ushiro. So I've done what I need to do, taking the blade this way, shaking it back to the right, behind your right foot. Done your job here, angling down, let gravity do its job, shaking the blade here, reverse gripping it back for noto. Ichi, left hand on the pommel, down here. Can also hit the kashira with your left hand. Give it a little kind of a hapaken. Let it do its work. Again, the guy's dead. Who cares how long it takes or how it looks? Ichi, ni. And then back to the reverse noto there. There's no such thing as left or right as correct or wrong. You can do both sides. So perhaps there's a tree here. You need to do your Chiburi. You go this way, shaking it back or using a reverse grip here to shake it back, returning with no toe. Tenshin Katori Shinto, the idea of spinning the sword 360 degrees. So your left hand is held lightly here, loosely. Right hand flicks the suka handle up all the way around. It's harder than it looks. All the way over. So from here, your right hand flicks, buri, here. It's harder than it looks. Then the reverse grip after the hit here to put it back into your scabbard. Ichi, ni, san, shi. And then from here into no toe, okay? So that's a harder one to do from the Katori Shinto Ryu. Here, ni, san, and back into no toe. That's another. If I had to do something fancy, it would be away from myself. The blood flicks out and around. This way, away from me. So it goes that way. The more fancy it becomes, in my opinion, the more impractical it is. Use your rag. It's the best thing you can do. 1.5 down. So you're matching the ochiburi with an extra turn here over your head. Keeping the guard up, returning. Throwing chiburi here. So I'm changing my hand. It's out, around, this way. Fancy, impractical, but fun. Work on these at home, around here. My opinion is those are low probability and you leave yourself too open. Here, flicking the blade, reverse grip. Okay? Those are just a couple that you can practice, but again, the more fancy it becomes, the worse. A note on the rag. Once you've done whatever chiburi you choose, use the rag sitting in your kimono to wipe the blade. That's the best thing you can do. If you had a handkerchief or something, it might have a mon, a symbol, a crest of your family on it. So you've dispatched of the ninja, you wipe your blade, you drop your evidence. So that later on, the ninja's comrades come over and say, "Who killed Saito?" "Ah, look, evidence, CSI. He left his hanky. There's his family crest. Oh, we're scared now of this family." Reputation increases, right? So if I had to use one of these rags, I would not put my family crest on there so that they came and hunted me down later on. I would use something plain, cloth, silk, whatever you had available to wipe the chi, the blood from it, and then just leave it. I've also heard of stories where after they do this, they use the hakama of the opponent to wipe the blood. Guys on the ground, they would bend. Use the clothing of the victim to clean your blade. Quite insulting, can you imagine that? Don't do like you see in movies. It's a cool scene in 13 Assassins where lead guy is cleaning his blade on his kimono. It looks awesome, it films well, people are like, awesome, but you don't want to do this type of stuff. Why would you want someone's blood all over your beautiful kimono? That makes no sense at all. Plus, again, you're walking around with evidence on your arm. Who killed Saito? The guy with the blood all over it. Whatever you do to remove the blood, simple, very simple. Use gravity, get the gore off of there. Use your rag if you have one to finish cleaning, dispose, and no toe. These are fancy things, in my opinion, in kenjutsu, which is a bit unorthodox. People spend way too much time on the formalities of the exact movements of the sword, and they often forget things like moving your feet or knowing distance. Iaito are beautiful arts, kenjutsu, all of these I've studied and practiced. We did it last night for an entire hour with 20 of our friends. So we are taking these old arts and we are trying to bring them into the 21st century and keep them alive. That is our job as stewards of Budo. We're only here for a couple decades. We take these old things and make them practical. Why bother studying the sword? Because it gives me unbelievable amounts of peace and happiness. Believe it or not, when you work with weapons, first of all, it gives you purpose. It keeps you sharp and focused on your responsibilities in life. It literally melts and cuts away your anger, your sadness, your depression, your kind of loneliness. This training, which has been around for 1,000, 2,000 years in China, is for the mind. It is training for the mind, not just the body. It's building awareness. It's building spatial awareness, distancing, strength, flexibility, all of these things, harmony, EI, all of these things that we don't use when we go to Walmart, but the awareness is there, but you use mentally when issues come up in our lives. When we go home and our loved ones are yelling at us, or our children are failing or something, and we're about to lose our job, bills are piling up, the mortgage is due, we lost our job, you get COVID or sick or something, all this training really helps with that. And it's not just this, any weapon, any martial arts, you do jujitsu, you have a purpose. You come home at night and you go somewhere, you meet like-minded people in a group that are positive and that clap when you earn something, rather than try to be jealous and envious and tear you down, which is the common thing nowadays in the lowly form of living. A higher purpose living is when we have purpose, we serve other people, we tell the truth, and we live an authentic life as best we can, so that when you put your head down on your pillow at night, you know that you've had a good day of helping other people in the world, rather than tearing them down because we feel sad, we feel we have to tear them down. That is not Budo, that is not kendo or kenjutsu. The idea of practicing with these is, even though it's a gross thing, we're talking about removing the blood from the blade. The goal, obviously with any legitimate teacher or martial artist, is never to get into a fight. How to avoid conflict at the highest possible level, which is using our intellect, our sense of humor, our voice, whatever we have to do to avoid fighting. The more I study about weapons, martial arts, and violence, the more it disgusts and repels me away from it. Therefore, I use more intelligent methods of defeating violence way before others see it starting. That is the high level of Budo that we're trying to achieve. It's very hard to get there. I'm still looking for it 50 years later. I'm still looking for all of the answers and the secrets that lie just over the horizon for me. Every time I find out a new secret with one of these, I find out a new secret about my own heart and mind, and how to get through the world, get what I want out of this life, also while helping and not hurting other people. That's the goal of this. So practice Chiburi, practice drawing your sword, noto, all of these things, sayabiki, all of these methods of the sword. Just go out in your backyard with a piece of wood and do your best. And I guarantee when you come back in the house, you're going to feel better, you're going to react to people better, you're going to be calm, you're going to lay your head on that pillow at night knowing that this was a day well lived. My time was spent fully and authentically and happily. I hope you enjoyed this very quick video on Chiburi. I talk too much, I know I yacked too much, but have fun with your sword practice, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good day.